ChatGPT, a different way of thinking. It has the ability to write my essays, homework, and even job resumes. Just don't tell my boss. AI has become a lot more used and found out in this generation, and I'm willing to see just how much ChatGPT knows about everything. So we'll be using ChatGPT to beat Terraria, following only what it tells me and seeing if it's fit enough to beat vanilla Terraria. Without further ado, let's get right into it. First things first, I asked it if I was getting the Crimson or Corruption, and it looked like it was the Crimson. Once I was in my Terraria world, I asked it what I should do first, and it told me to get some wood, make a workbench, craft some wood armor, just the simple stuff. As for the house, I could only make it out of wood and stone, so it's what I did. Once all finished with the setup, I looked to ChatGPT for the next answer, and for this it gave me quite a lot of tasks to do, but I had to do them because, well, ChatGPT told me so. First task is to expand my shelter for NPCs, second is to explore both surface and underground for resources and life crystals, third is to upgrade my armor, weapons, and accessories, fourth is to prepare for and defeat the Eye Cthulhu or King Slime, fifth task is to explore special biomes for unique loot and materials, and last but not least for this stage of the game is to build and organize storage and crafting stations. I started off by expanding my shelter to accommodate more NPCs, ensuring they had a place to stay and offer their services. With a safe base established, I ventured out to explore both the surface and the underground, collecting valuable resources and life crystals to increase my health.
Nice. Nice. Nice.
Equipped with these new materials, I upgraded my armor, weapons, and accessories to better prepare for the challenges ahead. My next goal was to face the first major boss, so I meticulously prepared for the Eye of Cthulhu. Ultimately, thanks to ChatGPT, I was able to get very prepared and take Eye of Cthulhu out with ease. With Eye of Cthulhu defeated, I went and made the King Slime spawn, and King Slime wasn't hard at all, especially with all the range stuff I have and all the loot I had prepared, so in the end we ended up beating him. Not that hard at all. With my confidence boosted, I explored special biomes to gather unique loot and rare materials. Finally, I focused on building and organizing efficient storage and crafting stations to streamline my future adventures. Finishing the set of challenges I got dealt, I asked ChatGPT for some more missions to do. With my next set of challenges I had to do, first, I needed to go and kill Skeletron, as well as looting the dungeon for stronger weapons and accessories. Then I had to go and defeat the Brain of Cthulhu, as well as the Queen Bee. Third, I needed to go and explore the jungle, along with making jungle armor. Fourth was to begin making my way to Hell, and begin mining Hellstone, as well as making the Hellstone gear and weapons. Fifth, I had to prepare the Hell Bridge for the eventual Wall of Flesh fight. And finally, I needed to retrieve any necessary buffs or any weapon upgrades to aid in my fight against the Wall of Flesh.
Round 1. Fight!
This first task started off super simple by preparing a dungeon arena for Skeletron, and the first time didn't really go too well, but don't worry, we try again. Oh shit. Fuck! With that terrible try out the way, we make the arena a little bit bigger and fight Skeletron again, and this time we were able to take him down pretty easily, allowing us access to the dungeon. Right as we got into the dungeon, we were able to get the Cobalt Shield along with the Miramasa, the things that ChatGPT was asking for, so pretty helpful. Task number 1 is done. My next thing on the agenda was to go and kill the Brain of Cthulhu, which I haven't defeated yet, as well as locate the Queen Bee and kill her in the jungle. I went straight to Brain of Cthulhu, destroying the first heart along with the second, and prepare myself for the third. Brain of Cthulhu spawned. He overall wasn't hard, and we were able to take him out pretty easily, especially with this nice loot that we have. Now that we're here in the jungle, we found a beehive pretty close to the surface, so I start putting some torches around, making some platforms, and start the fight. With the help of the water bolt, the Miramasa, and some magic missiles, it was relatively pretty easy, and although it was close a little bit just because of her poison damage, we were able to kill Queen Bee in the end. While I was here in the jungle, I decided to do my jungle exploration by killing a bunch of hornets for stingers, collecting jungle spores to eventually make the jungle armor, as well as, well, I already have all the life crystals, so that part didn't matter too much, and overall this is done pretty quickly. After getting jungle armor and all that, I started to make a elevator down to Hell, and eventually get the Hellstone armor and equipment. It's a little dumb how I got the jungle armor first, but, I mean, it was fine in the end. We got Hellstone armor now. With only 2 more tasks left till I get to hard mode, I had to make the Hell Bridge, which took a good chunk of time, but overall not too bad. And finally, I got met with our last task, the Wall of Flesh. Now, this took a good hour or two, because instead of fighting Wall of Flesh immediately, I had to prepare a lot by getting the Knight's Edge and a bunch of other weapons and accessories, because it did say grab any items necessary. So while I was here and preparing for Wall of Flesh, I might as well build another house. So I built like a weird tree type thing, and it's not my best, but it works for now. And I know ChatGPT didn't tell me this, but it does say to prepare, and I'm preparing for hard mode technically, so fighting the Goblin Army, and soon after finding the Goblin Tinkerer, I was reforging my items and was prepared to start going down to fight the Wall of Flesh. Now, I thought I was prepared, but this boss was actually a little harder than I thought, and I think it's because I was lacking some potions, but in the end, we were able to get the hang of it and kill Wall of Flesh, allowing us to be in hard mode now. Yeah! Suck my ball! Once I got back to the base, it was time to ask ChatGPT what my next course of action is. Right around this time, ChatGPT was asking me a lot of questions about Ranger and bows and all that, so I decided to change my class to the Ranger class. First thing to do after Wall of Flesh was to break Crimson Altar to spawn new hard mode ores, then to mine and craft new gear from Cobalt or Palladium, Mithril or Orichalcum, and Adamantite or Titanium. Next, I needed to upgrade my gear and prepare for tougher enemies, along with exploring the brand new Hallowed biome and the hard mode Crimson biome now. Later, I needed to prepare for the mechanical boss fights by gathering materials and building arenas, and finally, for this stage of the game, I needed to make sure I have enough housing for the NPCs I will get along the way. Starting off here, I just went to go and break the altars in the Crimson biome. Pretty standard, overall nothing too different from what I would do normally. Thankfully this first task was done pretty quickly, as I just had to find the altars and break them, so I was able to look for the hard mode ores for the next task. Thankfully Palladium spawned super close, so I was able to mine that and make a bunch of Palladium bars, and I was able to make the Palladium pickaxe. While I was at home, I grabbed a Splunker potion and started mining a ton of Orichalcum in order to make the Orichalcum anvil and eventually the Orichalcum pickaxe. With one more tier of hard mode ore I needed to go, I started mining the titanium with another Splunker potion, of course. And it took a good bit of time, but after a while I was able to make my full set of titanium armor. After making my armor and all that, I was a little confused on which ammo I should use, so I asked ChatGPT and it said the best bullets would be crystal and holy arrows for this stage of the game, so I listened. As well as I asked ChatGPT what a good bow would be, and it was saying the most recommended bow would be the ice bow, so that's what I went and hunted for, and I found it fairly quickly and on the first ice mimic, so saved a lot of time. After acquiring this new bow, I went to go to the Underground Hollow to farm some crystals up for some crystal bullets to make for my bullet weapons. And very sadly, when I asked it what accessories I should have, it gave me a whole list of the accessories, and one of them was the ink shield, so it was gonna take a while. One of my accessories was the Ranger emblem to get, so I tossed one of the old emblems I had and changed it into the Ranger emblem in the shimmer, so we got one of them done. And thankfully I was hunting for the ice mimic earlier. I was able to get the frostbark boots, which is a little upgrade from the lightning boots, but it still works. And after a long time of searching in the underground, I could not find the mimic or any other things I needed, but eventually it started snowing, so I went to the snow biome, and not the first ice golem, but the second one dropped me the ice feather, which allowed me to get the frozen wings. Yay! And after a lot of dying, I was finally able to get a good chunk of pieces of the ink shield. We're almost there. And finally, after a lot of grinding and a couple of dyes and a cool wizard hat, I was able to make the ink charm and then the ink shield, finally. And I still don't have the charm myths. I still need to find a mimic after all this. And thankfully, after all this searching, I was able to explore the Hallowed and Crimson biomes, knocking that off my list. Shortly after, I was able to get the Magic Quiver, another part of my accessories that I needed. I also acquired the Charm of Myths, completing my accessories finally. After completing all those, I got another objective of preparing for the mechanical bosses, but I asked ChatGPT what weapon I should use for it, and it recommended the Daedalus Stormbow, so I got to hunting for that. Now, usually when I want something in this game, it never gives it to me, but I am the luckiest person alive, and on our first Key of Light, we were able to get the Daedalus Stormbow, saving a lot of time on our hands. Oh! We got it first try! Once I finished getting my new equipment and all that, I started adding pools of honey and a bunch of regenerative things, so I wouldn't have to worry about it, and it's also what ChatGPT told me to do, so I was preparing for my first boss. And coincidentally, a terrible night was going to happen, so I guess the twins were going to spawn, but I thought it was going to be the destroyer, so it was a little weird. If I'd known it was the twins, I would have prepared a little bit better, but I ended up dying because I just wasn't prepared enough. I used this time to keep farming for my holy arrows, as it would help my daily stormbow count against the destroyer and all the other mech bosses. This time with the correct potions and right gear, I was able to spawn the destroyer this time, and it got a little close at some points, but in the end we were able to kill destroyer, finally killing one mechanical boss. I still needed to kill all the mechanical bosses, and with the loot from the destroyer, it told me to make the mega shark, so I thought I would do that after the twins. And thankfully this time I was a lot more prepared. With gravitation potions, the twins didn't really stand too much of a chance. It got close at times, but I was able to pull through in the end. I was then able to finish my hallowed armor as one of my objectives. Back to the mega shark, I was able to kill some sharks, get their fins, and make the mega shark, which is a big upgrade to my weapon arsenal. I also made another level to my arena and made it bigger just a little bit, so I'd be prepared for this last boss, Skeletron Prime. And for some reason while I was waiting, a solar eclipse spawned randomly, so I fought it, got some money, and got in the moonstone, a little bit of good stuff, but nothing too crazy. And with that all finally out the way, I was able to get to nighttime and summon the Skeletron Prime. He wasn't too bad, a little tedious at times, but we were able to get him, you know, because we're amazing at the game. With that all done, I ended up making the pickaxe axe with all the souls I got, and was on to the final task I had, which was to expand my NPC housing, but thankfully we already kind of prepared for that with our whole other house we have, so we were good. Getting close to the endgame, I asked ChatGPT for the final remaining tasks I need to do, and here's what ChatGPT had to say. First, I had to make the pickaxe axe for Drax, so I ended up making the pickaxe axe because I like it better, and we saw, I made it earlier. Next, I needed to go and mine a ton of chlorophyte ore, as well as finding life fruits to increase my health to 500. Following that, ChatGPT said I was ready to fight Terraria and get her valuable loot. Then, exploring the jungle temple and finding and killing Golem at the lizard altar. Next, getting ready for Duke Fishron and grabbing the powerful tsunami as his very strong range weapon from Duke Fishron. And then killing the lunatic cultists and starting the lunar events. Finishing up the celestial pillars, making the correct weaponry for the type of class I'm using, which is ranger. And finally defeating Moonlord, acquiring the SDMG for myself. First things first, we started to go to the jungle and started looking for all the life fruit and chlorophyte, and it took quite a while. Waiting for all these life fruits to spawn and trying to find them, it took a long time, but eventually we got to 500 health, and we also got chlorophyte armor along the way, so it was all good. With all that farming and weapon and armor upgrading, I was now able to start fighting Terraria, so I made a big arena and begun the fight. The first try didn't go too well, and we ended up dying, so I quickly realized that I need to make the arena bigger. So I made the arena bigger, and we went after it again. Terraria this time was a lot easier, a little close, but in the end we were able to get her. Yes! And before I could go on by finding the lizard temple and fighting Golem, I asked ChatGPT what I should do with, after I killed Terraria, and it told me to go get shroomite armor and all that, so I went and did that. And for this task, I just started making a little mushroom biome on top of a sky island, making a simple house for my truffle. And while I was waiting for all the mushrooms and stuff to grow, I went to explore the lizard temple. And while I was there, I thought I would give Golem a try with my chlorophyte armor and, Venus Magnum weapon from Terraria. And the first attempt didn't really go too well, but it's alright. I then prepared a little bit harder and focused up and was able to kill Golem on the second try. And I haven't even gotten shroomite armor yet, so this was pretty helpful to have killed Golem already. Let's go! Thankfully I was on a roll, so I was able to kill Golem again, but I then died because I got cocky. God. And I fought Golem again, and this went for a while because I really needed the pick saw. And eventually I did get it. It just took quite a while. And don't worry, if you see the beetle wings, ChatGPT said it was okay. So I was able to complete my Golem task finally because I acquired the pick saw and all that. So I was now able to make shroomite armor after a long time of waiting for mushrooms to grow. Also, at this stage of the game, ChatGPT gave me new accessories to get. So sadly, the ink shield is no longer going to be used, and I'm going to use the sniper scope instead. I killed Wall of Flesh real quick to get another emblem for the Destroyer emblem in the future I'll make. And I then went to the dungeon to start farming for the sniper accessory drop. So yeah, it took quite a while for that one. finally, after a long time, the rifle accessory dropped, and I didn't have to worry about it anymore, which was a big relief. Once made the sniper scope, I also found a tactical shotgun along the way, which was a recommended weapon by ChatGPT, so it was nice to acquire. The pirates did randomly invade me, and it was a little annoying, but we did end up getting them. It was just a little tedious at times. With everything out the way, I went on to my next thing, preparing for Duke Fish Run. Had to catch some truffle worms and make a big arena, and started the fight. The fight was intense, and since I was in a small world, I couldn't make my arena as high, which really affected me a ton, because when you fall from space, you fall slower, meaning Duke Fishon can catch up to you, so I had to improvise, so I had to use the goat skull mount from Wall of Flesh to make up for it with speed. The second attempt was very close, but I messed up because I fat-fingered, so I changed the binding to the side of my mouse to make it easier to quick mount. And for the third time, I summoned Duke Fishon, and this time it went a lot better, especially with the mount, and I figured out the movements a little more. I was able to get him to second phase pretty easily, and then third phase, not really a problem, and we ended up killing him. Sadly, when I opened the treasure bag, no tsunami, but the next time I killed him, I was able to get the tsunami, which I'm glad, because sometimes it takes me a long time. Thankfully, the next time I killed him, I was able to get the fish on wings as well as another tsunami. I don't know, I had a lot of fish on it at this point, so good money. Lunatic Cultist was my next thing I had to do, and sometimes he can be hard and sometimes he's easy, but thankfully this time with the tsunami, he was not hard at all, and we killed him, starting the lunar events. And personally, I hate the Celestial Pillars. I don't know anyone who likes the Celestial Pillar, but I took out the Vortex Pillar first, got the Vortex Beater and the Phantasm Bow, making the other pillars a lot easier. Almost killing all the Celestial Pillars, I left one because I had to set up for the Moonlord Arena because it apparently said a long platform area with teleporters on each side, so I guess that's what we're doing. I've never done that before personally. And with the setup of the arena, I made it nice and long, adding campfires and heart lanterns along the way, as well as honey pools because that's what it told me to do, and then had to connect teleporters from each side and was ready to fight Moonlord. With the death of the last pillar, impending doom was approaching, and I was setting up for Moonlord. I went on the platform and was ready for Moonlord. The battle was intense, my cheeks were clenched, it was everything you could think of right now. And there was sweat in places I didn't want sweat to be in, but in the end we were able to kill Moonlord, and thankfully we didn't even get the SDNG, so we had to keep going. Sadly, I ran out of fragments, so I had to fight the Lunatic Cultist and the pillars all over again, but thanks to editing, you guys don't have to watch that. I was able to kill Moonlord, and again, I did not get the SDMG. So we fight him again. And this time I finally get the SDMG. It took forever, and I made the Vortex armor along the way. So we got our endgame armor and endgame weapon. And with that, I finished all the tasks ChatGPT told me to do. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, as it took me quite a while to make. And if you guys want to see more, let me know what you want to see. And if it's different games, let me know as well. And see you guys in the next one.